So Ryan, I want to congratulate you on the film. I just watched it, and for me, it was very easy to identify with each one of them, Gavin, Shane, Marty, because it's a great exploration of the human condition, and everything happens in a claustrophobic environment, but on a good claustrophobic environment, because they take you to trips, to emotional trips that are very deep. Can you comment on this, please?
Well, thank you. So you really related to the film, and that's wonderful. I received the script from a friend of mine, the guy that's actually right there, James Liddell, and I was going through my own kind of existential crisis with friends, which I think we all are right now in terms of communication and connection. Here we are on Zoom, right? But the idea of feeling disconnected, but wanting some level of connection, but you know, all the baggage that comes with years of denial or regret or resentment, which are three things that happen a lot that are addressed in the film. Not to mention addiction, which to me is about self-medication, about not really confronting the issue or issues. So when I read the script, I was reading the script specifically just to give notes. James said, "I've written this thing. Would you like to read it?" I said, "Sure, I'll read it. I just finished a film." And I was going through my own, like I said, my own issues in general with what I said, but also in a very specific way with a specific friend. So the relationship between Shane and Gavin, two of the main characters, very much mirrored my own experience. That was what drew me to the story. And the idea of the setting of having three friends in a small space that seems fun initially, but it becomes very, very constrained. Allowed there to be some really organic, honest, I'd say confrontation is probably the wrong word, but we'll go with that word.
I don't think there's confrontation. There's a need to heal.
Yeah.
A need to heal and understand and forgive, maybe.
Absolutely. I'm glad you see that. I'm glad, you know, a lot of people have commented on the film in terms of the themes about healing, but I think you really nailed it with what you're saying there, in that it really is less about what you're saying, what your verbal apology is, but are you authentically connecting to someone? And one of the key points that I really enjoyed about working with these guys is that they're all friends, more or less. And I wanted them to have a bit of a therapy within the film, talking about what is the undergirding of your relationships? What makes you feel good about each other? Not what you say, you know, but more of what you do. What is your just general spiritual connection? And to me, that gets essentially typified in the end, when we had that moment at the end where they're all sitting and having breakfast together, silently. And I wanted to hold on that as long as I could. For me, that was a bit of a, this is going to sound very pretentious, very film-like, pardon me, but it felt like a prayer to me. Like this moment, it's in, you know, it's lit in a golden hue. It's meant to sit there, and the three of them are not talking; they're just communing. You know, which is my latent Catholicism, I guess.
I think that the French toast symbolize forgiveness and let's move on, silence.
Absolutely.
And they're all forgiving themselves too, which is cool.
Yeah, I love that you said that. I'm going to steal that. That's going to be my quote.
Yeah, should we make it? Should we do the interview a little more superficial or not?
No, yeah, right. Let's go. Yeah. Now let's talk about their hairstyles. No. I love this. That's wonderful.
For me, was I identified with Gavin. Gavin, I feel his pain. I mean, because I was not a drug addict, but I understand. Well, maybe a little sometimes, but I do understand dependency, and also he has a dependency from drugs, but also from love in a way, from Madison.
Sure.
And then that goes down the drain. Maybe, I don't know. We don't want to give things away.
You know, the fact that you relate to his dependency and his, I think I used the term recently, I may have said it just now, but the fact that there is a need to self-medicate and using drugs or sex or spending a lot of money on, you know, superfluous things, any of these things are levels of self-medication, and they apply themselves to the concept of addiction. I feel like, you know, Gavin's journey on some level, and I think this is something that James and I worked out a lot. I kind of wanted to soften the blunt end of his specific addiction and allow it to be sort of wrapped up in a whole series of resentments and you know, withholding of things that ultimately don't even really matter that much, because there is a higher, or say a deeper connection that he's yearning for. And you know, one of the things that I thought was terrific about the script was that Gavin is not the most articulate guy with his emotions. So we don't have these soliloquies, you know, these long moments of like, you know, external zeitgeist where he's just, you know, giving you all of the minute details of why he feels the way he does. I've often felt that that was a very pat way of doing something. And I liked the kind of authentic ambiguity associated with that. That allows us all, you, Michael, myself, I think anyone, to then apply those emotional moments to our lives. And I really caught into that.
Just to explore how much, if you think it's easier to express yourself with independent films now during the pandemic, due to the fact that Hollywood is not launching anything.
Okay, you have speed.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay, so Ryan, I would like to ask you if you think that due to the pandemic, well, the studios are not opening big. So do you think that gives you more room to launch your story to a bigger market through streaming?
I think right now, and I think maybe this is the beginning of something. We'll see. But I think for right now and for the foreseeable future, maybe for at least the next year, we're going to see that movies that might not get as much attention, or any, low-budget films, independent cinema, I just corrected myself, will get more attention because of the inability to go to theaters. Or theater, frankly. I mean, anything where there's a communal experience where you can actually be around other people and watch something. But more specifically, yes, I think that there is a great opportunity for this sort of kind of democratization of filmmaking, in as much as it is for film viewing, because digital filmmaking has made it much more, I'm not going to say it's ever easy to make a film, because that's not true, but it makes it more accessible if you want to put the effort in. And so I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Ryan, what about like festivals? It's very sad that Cannes is not happening. Toronto's might be virtual and like that. How do the new reality affects filmmakers like you in terms of touring festivals, international festivals?
Well, I'll tell you, I really lament the fact that we can't take this film to festivals, and yes, in general, you know, Telluride, Sundance, whatever. It's that's such a great rite of passage, and it's also a great way to connect with all sorts of other disparate filmmakers and just, you know, that part of the community. That bothers me. That's probably the one thing that's genuinely bothered me. I did a short a number of years ago for a horror film I wrote and directed called Trace. And because I had made a short film and because people got to see it, I got funding for that film. So it does work. There is a certain, line of succession that gets you to that point. I suppose I'm lucky in the sense that I happen to have directed a film before this that the writer slash actor,
James Little.
James Liddell, happened to really like, and we are friends. But you can be friends with someone and say, "But I don't care for your work." But he really liked the film, and he understood the interpersonal relationships. For me, Trace is a drama that's disguised as a horror film. It's the same basic concept. But in this case, yeah, I suppose that was my little mini film festival, and I got my connection. But yeah, it's too bad. I think just today they announced a festival is not happening. I forget which one it is. But I really have no opinion, and that's rare for me, but I really have no opinion of how this is going to work in terms of virtual festivals. I just don't know.
Are you in denial?
I maybe am. I very well might
Like
be.
the characters in the film?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sailing on that denial.
Okay. Listen, the last question, but I won't use your answer. It's only, I'm curious. Do you think that Addison and Gavin get back together? I love the flashbacks and the dreams, but I wanted them to be real.
I'll tell you something. We finished the movie, and I said, we're missing something that's very, very important to me. And if you agree with me, then we own this together. This isn't just a director putting his stamp on it. And he agreed. I said, I really want to see something that is either a flashback, and I'm not going to give this away. This is up to you as a viewer.
No, I wouldn't publish.
It's either a flashback or it's a projection of what might have been, maybe what he wanted, of that beautifully shot, very intimate shots of Levi and Gavin together. And some of those shots actually just focused on her face from the perspective of a lover looking at another lover in bed.
Beautiful in bed, talking about the bridge.
Yeah, and then we have that stark black and white sort of film noir moment of her dancing. Again, those things are meant to kind of be slight abstractions that are things that he sees. And maybe by the end of the movie, we begin to realize that, well, maybe none of that was really real. That was just what he wanted to be real.
But it makes it beautiful. Also, the scene in the bathroom where she's taking care of him.
Yes.
The towel, beautiful. And she's amazing.
Oh, Levi Tran is so talented, and she's on a show right now called MacGyver. She's it's an action show, but she has such a dramatic range, and when I mentioned of the blocking of that scene, I said I want it to really almost look like Mary, cradling Jesus, something like that, and she was like, "Oh, I know exactly how to do that."
Beautiful, beautiful.
And she got it. Amazing.
Well, Ryan, thank you very much. Thanks for the film, and I had a great time. And we're going to upload it soon. When are you opening?
Well, we are starting to open Friday.
This Friday.
Yeah, and it's going to be on all the platforms. I was cautioned to not say which yet because they're sort of there's a backlog of stuff that they're doing, but they're going to be seeping out starting Friday.